Welcome into the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining me this afternoon as we have our Rivalry Week show. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the final show before to the rivalry games. I tell you what, let me grab my water. My goodness. I'm off kilter because I've been off the air for a couple of days, but we're going to put on a good show for you. All right. The number to dial is 803-978-1832. You can call and get involved with the program. It's going to be a great show today. We're going to talk a little bit about some coaching rumors. We're going to talk about one coach that's probably already on the move. We just have to wait for the season to end. Also, the rankings for the top rivalries in college football. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay? I gotta be honest with you. Here's the thing. The biggest rivalry in the state of South Carolina is, of course, the Clemson and South Carolina rivalry. You can put anything that you want up against it. Me growing up around it, it's hard for me to say, oh, this rivalry is better than that one, because I've seen people get legitimately angry. I mean, big time angry. I remember stories from someone got shot over a South Carolina Clemson matchup. Let's make sure we put it out there. Do not shoot your friends over the South Carolina Clemson rivalry. Do not do that. Okay? We can't have that. But people take this rivalry very seriously around here. Okay? And we'll talk about what can make it get to a point where this rivalry is very well thought of, because right now it's not. Anyway, let's take phone calls, 803-978-1832. Out to the phones we go. Welcome into the Rundown. Good afternoon.
Hello, this is Bobby and Casey. How are you, Rob?
Bobby, how are you, brother? Thank you for calling the show today. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving, sir.
Yep, I did. Thank you. Well, in case anybody needs to know, Louisiana Tech paid Skip Holtz $3 million today to go away. And you go to Brett McMurphy's Twitter feed, you can see the 15 jobs that are now open. Well, actually, the bottom four have been filled.
Right.
So I add Louisiana Tech
to the mix.
I don't think he's coaching against Rice this weekend.
Well, we shall see about that. But I tell you what, I think everyone that listens to this program wants to be an NCAA football coach, because if you get fired, you get paid a lot. Louisiana Tech is like what, the third biggest school in the state of Louisiana, and he's getting paid $3 million to not work. I need one of those jobs. If iHeartMedia decided, hey, Rob, we're going to fire you and we want you to go away, they wouldn't even let me pick my stuff up at the door. They'd be like, yeah, get out. We'll mail it to you. Much less any of that. So I think we all need to get college football jobs.
Yep. And it's so interesting because at one point, everyone was barking that he didn't get the job when his father left here. Everybody was barking in town he didn't take over for his father. Well, evidently, he was a great play caller, but him and his father didn't see eye to eye on something. Then he went to East Carolina, had success. Then he went over to South Florida, and he got let go there. So if you look at some of the stuff I sent you, he does have a pretty decent winning record, with the last 2 years he's tanked.
Yeah, and they have fallen off a good bit. Yeah, you're right about that.
And then one other thing, Phil Steele put it out. I've been seeing it today. Evans, the leading rusher at Tennessee, is leaving Tennessee into the transfer portal.
Wow.
So
sad.
if you are, Phil Steele tweeted, he pulled it off at ESPN.com. I didn't really go in because I'm watching some games here. Go in, look at the article on ESPN, because I actually got the scoreboard open.
Right.
Why he decided if there's any things transferring, it's just, the St. John's and Heupel could be rumored to go to the Oklahoma job if Lincoln Riley decides to leave to, say, Florida or LSU.
All right.
So you can kind of read something between the lines there, but his top rusher, so they will be without him. I believe their rival is Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
So this weekend, that should be a big deal not having him there.
We'll
you kind of read between the lines. So have a great day. Go Gamecocks, go Hurricanes. This will be Manny Diaz's last game Saturday, by the way. They should beat the tar out of Duke.
Well, hey, what's your pick for the game this weekend with South Carolina and Clemson? You got a score?
I am going to go against my Gamecocks, and I am going to go out there and say 24-21 Clemson, a nail biter. none of this 11 play. No, although I got to admit, I'm the odds maker just down, and Vegas is 80% right. They started at 11.5. But I just think they'll toughen up. My only thing is this: we know Alongalele can score. We know South Carolina can score. We know Clemson and Venerables will have a good defense. The question is, what kind of defense will show up against Alongalele, if I'm saying that last name right?
Yeah.
Gamecock defense to shut him down.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it,
but
man.
I believe it's going to be a tight game. I really think the Gamecock pride is at home. It's a national television, and I think they'll show up and make it a lot tighter. But I don't think they can do it. I think Venables will drop a defense. Jay Brown's not great, but sometimes you got to wonder what South Carolina offense will show up. Anyway, go Cox. Anyway, I hope they beat them. It'd be nice.
All right, buddy.
Thank
Have a great day. Thanks a lot. All right, there we go. Bobby from Casey calling. Of course, we always appreciate his calls. Yeah, that's one of the things that I want to get into today, as well as some coaching stuff, because all of that's going to be hitting people in the face here shortly. And what I mean by that is that after the matchups on tomorrow, like Sunday is like Black Sunday. I think that's the term they use. You have Black Friday for holiday shopping. Black Sunday for coaches in the in college football is on Sunday. And of course, we already know that Dan Mullen is going to be out. But according to Florida insider Pat Dooley, he says that Billy Napier is going to be the next head coach at Florida, according to several reports. We'll see how that works out for them. Now, Napier is a guy that, of course, coached at Clemson. Did some, was the offensive coordinator there. And of course, he's been really, really good at Louisiana. Now, he's kind of off-played some of these jobs, meaning he could have been the head coach at several different spots, but I think he wanted to wait for an SEC job that he wanted. And logic says that he should have gone to LSU. That would make the most sense. Now, if you go by the adage of, hey, you work your way up, you become an offensive coordinator, you go to another school that's not necessarily a Power 5 school, but then you build your way up, he's done all of that. He's been really, really good at Louisiana. And you would think that, okay, he's right there in the state. He's got the recruiting ties that are right there with that. So he knows the high school coaches in the state. He knows the recruiting blueprint of that. But I don't know what LSU wants to do. And I think LSU wants to hire the big name. They want the name that when you hear it, you're like, oh, they hired that guy. Wow. I think that's kind of the move that the LSU athletic director wants to make. I don't know where they're going to go. There's talk that it could be Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. There's several different spots. Now, here's the big thing about that. I mock the SEC folks for talking about an SEC schedule. I'm really mocking the SEC East, because if you look at the schedule for the number one Georgia Bulldogs, and this is real, in the CFP rankings, they've played one team that's currently ranked, and that team is the Clemson Tigers, who most likely are not going to the ACC championship game. Now, I know these are facts that the SEC folks don't want to hear, but it's absolutely true. In the regular season, their biggest win, in theory, by the rankings, is against Clemson. Now, I know they're going to be like, oh, but the SEC. No. No one wants to hear that crap. What the teams that you played in the SEC East and the way that the schedule shook out, your biggest win is the Clemson Tigers. I believe I said that at the beginning of the season. Just saying, little things like that. Now, if Clemson wins tomorrow night, they will be, they'll still be ranked. And I think that, and a lot of it depends on how the rankings shake out, but Georgia could end up with something else if another SEC team that they played enters into the top 25. But getting back to what I was talking about earlier, if you're LSU and you're coaching there is the logic of, wait a minute, I've got to play Alabama every year. I got to play Texas A&M every year. Auburn right now is not really one of those teams, but you do have to play those two teams. And Alabama is legitimately one of the best teams in the country every single year. There's not really much denying that. And Texas A&M is a top 25 team most of the seasons. But after that, it kind of, slopes off a little bit. So Napier may be thinking, hey, if I get into the SEC East, yeah, well, they got to play LSU, but LSU right now is probably rebuilding. And you've got Georgia and then the rest of the SEC East. And I'm not mocking the Mizzous, the South Carolinas of the world. They're all trying to build to get to where Georgia is right now. But maybe that has a little bit to do with Napier saying, you know what? It's probably a little bit easier to play in the SEC East than it is the West. I don't think very many people want to argue that. But I think there's going to be a coaching hire over the next couple of weeks. It's going to shock some of us. Will Lincoln Riley make the move? Who's going to go to Southern Cal? I know that this sounds like I'm being silly here, but I think that, and I don't like doing politics on the show, but the tax rates in California are at an absurdly high level. I mean, a really, really high level. If you're going to coach there, you're going to get taxed more in theory. I think that might take some coaches that look at that and be like, man, why do I want to deal with that? I wonder who we think that Napier's going to take the job at Florida. Who's going to go to LSU? Is it going to be Lincoln Riley? And then you have these other jobs. Virginia Tech is a Power 5 job, and a job that at one point was considered one of the better jobs in the ACC. Yeah, not so much. Justin Fuentes kind of got them falling off a cliff a little bit there. They're going to have to rebuild. So you're going to have rebuilding jobs just about anywhere, I think, with the exception of LSU right now, because a lot of their recruits are going to stay. I'm not saying LSU is going to be able to compete for the national title next season, but it wouldn't shock me if LSU won 9-10 games next year, depending on the coach that they get. And really, that's not that completely far-fetched. Shane Beamer came to South Carolina and won 6 games with the roster that Will Muschamp left him. So when you have a solid base, which is what LSU has, they could probably win some of those, win some extra games next year and win 9 or 10 games, and then boom, go right on up to the top. Loose Hypocrisy Online says the SEC East is a sleeping giant that is showing signs of waking up. I have no doubt that Georgia's the best team over there. The rest of them, not so much. Tell me who is the sleeping giant in the East. I'll wait. You got a bunch of 5-5 teams, 6-5 teams, 5-6 teams. In fact, the East is the division that's going to have 2 teams that most likely will not make a bowl. One of them is going to be the Vanderbilt we know is not making a bowl. And if Florida loses tomorrow, they're not making a bowl either. They probably shouldn't even accept a bowl bid, to be honest. I mean, really? Do you think Florida fans are going to travel to see that? If they win, they're a 6-6 team, and you get to go to Birmingham. That's where you get to go, Florida, after the season you've had. Go to Birmingham. Yes, that's what they want. No, not so much. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. I wanted to get into some of the coaching stuff, and I've got there's a group that put out the top 15 rivalries in college football. The number 1 rivalry, according to this list, is Michigan and Ohio State, followed by Alabama and Auburn. You know, I've got to get to a point where I can appreciate the Big Ten rivalries with Michigan and Ohio State. I know that there's a lot of hatred there. I get that. And it's a very close rivalry. Michigan leads the series 58-52-6. When both teams were ranked 46 times, both times in the top 10, 23 times, according to this report. Yeah, I got that. Alabama and Auburn. Alabama leads the series by 10. Both teams ranked 24 times. Yeah, I can see that too. Notre Dame and Southern Cal. Are you buying that as a big rivalry? Oklahoma and Texas. 62-50-5. I think to have a good rivalry, you can't be into this mix of, okay, we're in the same state, so that's a big rivalry. It's got to be competitive a little bit. It really does. Loose Hypocrisy Online says Kentucky. man. You really want to go there? Come on, man. Kentucky gets the gong. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the rundown this afternoon on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeart Radio app. Appreciate you guys checking out the show. But getting back to what I was talking about, I think you have to be competitive in your rivalries. You know, if you have a team that has like an absurdly longer, if there's like a 20-game lead in the rivalry, it's like, okay. Okay. That's sweet. Like Georgia and Georgia Tech, I know that they hate each other. I know that. But Georgia Tech rarely competes in that rivalry. I don't even know the actual numbers on that. I would venture to say Georgia is, you know what? And I'll pull it up right now because I've got it right in front of me. I think Georgia's got they probably got at least a 30-game lead in that rivalry, meaning that, you know, you could have you'll never get out of that in your lifetime. You know what I'm saying? So the numbers say Georgia leads by 27 games. So you can have a quarter century. You can have a quarter century and 2 years before you tie the rivalry, Georgia Tech. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Brandon's giving me crap online saying Ole Miss would win the ACC this year. Brandon is missing the point here. The point is we're talking about the SEC East, where the only team that I think could win the ACC would be the Georgia Bulldogs. Rest of them, not so much. Lose Hypocrisy says that Clemson's going to go 0-2 versus the SEC East this season. You know what? I have a better stat for you there, Lou. I don't think that in the matchup tomorrow, I'd be stunned if South Carolina scored a touchdown. I think the Gamecocks are going to kick field goals tomorrow. The SEC East may have 2 games against Clemson this year where neither team scores an offensive touchdown. How about that there for you, Lou? I'll put that on the bookcase of accountability. Kind of standing by that because I don't really think that South Carolina has the offense that can actually go out there and put up points on the Clemson defense. I think that the Clemson defense will run blitz South Carolina, make Jason Brown throw the ball, and basically knock him around in the pocket a little bit. I think Clemson's going to win big tomorrow. So we'll go with that. Great. We'll come back. We'll have more for you here on the rundown. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. That's not a rivalry series, sir. We're talking about games that are played every year. I can't help that Georgia's too chicken shit to play Clemson every year. How about that? How about those apples on a rivalry weekend? That was the joke for a while, is that Georgia didn't want to schedule Clemson. I don't know. May have been Clemson didn't want to schedule Georgia. I don't know either way. By the way, tonight we are doing our live show at Callaway's. Hey, Lou, that's a hell of a prediction there, buddy. I don't think they're going to score a touchdown. Georgia didn't score a touchdown. Which offense do you think is better, Georgia's or South Carolina? Why don't you go on the bookcase of accountability with that? You want to try that route there, sir? I'll put you in the trick bag in a second. You Georgia fans are easy sometimes. You guys are great fans, though. I'll give you that. I'm putting it on the bookcase of accountability. If they do, then I'm going to come back and say, man, that Georgia offense is better. That South Carolina offense is better than that Georgia offense. Georgia couldn't score a touchdown on Clemson. South Carolina did. Wow. See how that works there, Lou? You like that? You haven't won anything yet there, Alan. You shouldn't put the cart before the horse there, sir. You should worry about winning the conference, winning tomorrow. Make sure you don't get anybody hurt tomorrow. Just saying. You do realize the ACC's won 2 out of the last 5 national titles, right? You realize that, right? Yeah, you don't want to talk about that. That kind of hurts feelings. Bless your heart, though, on this Thanksgiving weekend. Bless your heart. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us here on the program. Folks giving me grief online about what I just said. Lou says he asked if I was still drunk. I thought Lou was drunk. I don't know. You're lucky I'm at work. I've got his blood pressure up. Well, take your meds, sir. Don't let my facts get you into a point where you can't you got to get your blood pressure high. We don't need all of that. SEC Dog says, hey, Rob, if South Carolina can stop the run and force DJ to throw it, they may win. You know, you're right about that, but the South Carolina run defense hasn't really been that great this year. Gave up 168 yards to Tank Bigsby, 200-plus yards to Mizzou's running back, Tyler Beatty. I mean, yeah, there's that. So someone says Clemson will have 10 sacks by halftime. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if it'll be that entrenched, but Jason Brown has had issues where he likes to get out of the pocket, and he spins the same way. People are getting tape on that. He's even said it himself. Hey, I do this move. He's even mentioned it during his own press conferences. I think the way for South Carolina, if they're going to win, they're going to have to run the ball. But when they throw the ball, they need to give it to a point where Jason Brown makes easy throws. I'm talking little 3, 4, 5, 7-yard outs, things like that, just to keep the chains moving. Let's go out to the phones. Welcome into the Rundown. Good afternoon.
I couldn't stand it anymore. I'm at work. I may get fired for this, but when I hear Dime Store Danny Cannell rearing his head in your little tiny studio there, someone has got to put the choke on you, sir. Someone's got to bring reality back home.
Well, I'm a big fella, and there ain't gonna be no choking me, my friend. But go ahead. I'll let you have your moment here. What would you like to add to the program?
2 of the last 5 national championships, huh?
Yes, that is correct. Would you like to look at that? Do you need to be reminded of that?
And how many
was
teams
Georgia's
are
last
involved?
National title? I can't remember. Can you help me with that? I don't
how
remember.
How many teams were involved in those 2 national titles, those ACC titles?
That would be 1.
That's
all
that
matters, right?
If you went back just, I don't know, let's just pick 20 years or so. How many different SEC teams do you think won a national title?
I think it's 4.
I think it's 5.
Okay, well, we'll go with 5. The ACC's had 3. 2.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 2.
Yeah, had 2 in 20 years. That's a hell of a conference you got there.
Well, and once again, I know that it makes you folks with the lower back tattoos from the SEC, it gets you upset when teams that are from another conference, beat your team senseless. Can Georgia talk about a 44-16 win over Alabama? Can you guys do that?
They cannot.
Okay, they can.
They cannot.
Go ahead.
They also haven't lost to Syracuse a few years ago, or actually in the head-to-head, or if you want to go series.
What's a worse loss, Syracuse or Vanderbilt? Because I can watch a Vanderbilt loss for Georgia in HD.
Hey, you mentioned that lower back tattoo. That reminds me. I did not send that. I didn't send you that pic, did I?
Do you already have it? That's great.
Well, I've had it the whole time.
Of course you have.
To send you a pic there.
I think you got one of the lower back tattoos where they put that special ink in it, where when a black light hits it, it glows in the dark. That way people can know day or night where you're at.
I'll have you know I paid $400 extra for that, by the way.
I'm sure that you did. It probably has that musical ink in it too, where you have an app and you put the app on the phone there and it goes on your lower back and it's just teams chanting SEC, it just means more. Or it may be Blondie 1980. I don't know. Whatever it is you want to go with.
You never did answer me. That guy who I still think is one of the more brilliant football minds used to call in by the name of Beggin' Megan.
He's in a monastery. Why do you keep bringing this guy up? He is trying to keep his faith going, sir. I will not have you bad-mouthing someone who's trying to get right with God. I will not have it.
Well, you You didn't answer my question. That's
Sure.
why I brought it up. He would sign off with 43-18. Just want to. I don't understand the significance of those numbers.
I have
what was that?
I mean, that might be his locker combination at the airport. I don't know.
Okay, it's not like some series record or something like that.
I don't know.
ACC versus SEC, maybe.
When Georgia wins the SEC title, or the national title, and he comes out of the monastery, we can ask him.
Okay. Well, cue the Blondie up, Rob, because you got just a few more weeks of that nonsense. You'll be able to.
I know that really bothers you folks, doesn't it?
Yeah, all the Rubik's Cube jokes. All the.
I haven't done the Rubik's Cube because that's a little bit lower level, but the Blondie joke is great. I mean, also, when Georgia last won the national title, the #1 movie in America was American Gigolo. Take that home with you.
Right. Yeah, all the Rocky movies. Sorry, I get them confused. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and get all that out of your system, Rob, because you're gonna have to face a new reality.
I don't know what's my reality going to be. Congratulations, you won a year of college football where everything was nuked. But yeah, I mean, hey, Georgia's the best team in the country. Let's just hope that they can actually pull through with it. Because I mean, you have the best team. I put that on the record. You have the best team. The only thing that can stop you is you, not someone else.
Well,
you.
Just the mere argument. They say never argue with fools or drunks. Obviously, you're one of the two. Anybody who would even compare the SEC to the ACC. I mean,
I'm not comparing the SEC to the ACC. The only people who do that are the people in the SEC who want to think, you know what, we got beat by the two teams that are up top, but we have to solidify ourselves as a football program. Those are the people who are the SEC is the greatest ever. That's who I'm talking about.
Well, you were throwing shots at the SEC.
Oh, I throw shots at the SEC all the time. They're used to it.
Well, it's in your blood. You're Dime Store Danny.
I'm the black sheep that the SEC, they want to invite me to dinner because they like me, but they don't really like me. That's the way that it boils down to.
I'm not sure that anybody's inviting you to dinner, but I am at work, so I've got to run 43-18, Rob.
Have a great day, sir. All right, let's go one more call. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, young man.
Hey, what's up? How are you?
I'm doing good. You enjoyed your Thanksgiving?
I did. It was actually kind of cool. My brother-in-law did the turkeys, and my wife was happy, and the kids were happy, so it was all right.
So what did you do?
I sat back and ate turkey. That's what I did. And I watched football games.
All right. So I guess we're going to be eating a lower level of the turkey tomorrow then.
Actually, yeah. I've got my wife is going to make turkey sliders. I know that, and I think I've got sausage balls left. She makes sausage balls, so yeah.
No, when I say lower level of the turkey, I'm talking about a lower level in the turkey family. I'm talking about the gamecock.
You might be right. I don't know how that's going to work out, but that's I got you now. That makes sense.
But the reason I called in, I just have a problem with teams going to a bowl with a 6-6 record. Like you're rewarding mediocrity at 500.
Right.
And I know the pros do that too, but I just have a problem with it. Then I have a problem with people getting all excited because they're going to a bowl, and rather than saying, okay, we're going to a bowl at 6-6, but all these other big schools like Ohio State, Oklahoma, and all them other schools, if they don't win 9 or 10 games or go to a big time bowl, they talking about firing their coach.
Well, some schools they have a different realm of what they think they want their football program to be. I mean, if you are, and we can use Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama. If they have a coach that has 2 7-win seasons in a row, they're going to be like, "What the hell's going on here?" That's going to be gone.
Yeah, I know, but the people in our state, if they go to a bowl, they be jumping for joy. And one last thing,
sure.
And you were talking about people talking about the SEC and the ACC.
Yeah.
Look at this. Wasn't Carolina in the ACC?
Yeah.
Decades ago,
they
were. They couldn't dominate the ACC in football. They left, became an independent. They couldn't dominate that. Then they joined the SEC. They had some good years under Spurrier. But the thing about it is, those years that they had that were good, the SEC was weak, like it's weak now.
I think the SEC's top heavy, but
South
Carolina, they left the ACC because of stuff with basketball and some other things that were in the mix too. So,
But they still couldn't dominate it. But when I say the SEC weak, I'm talking about in the East. The East is weak.
Of course it is. It's one team and a bunch of 6 and 5 teams. And Kentucky.
All right. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks,
right,
man. Have a good day. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. We're going to pick some games here in a moment. Yeah, it's almost that time, ladies and gentlemen. Call up and tell me why you think South Carolina can win or why Clemson's going to win. We could do that. We could also talk about the Egg Bowl from last night. We can talk about all kind of things. Whatever it is you want to go to today here, the post-Thanksgiving edition of The Rundown. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. This is a retro SummerSlam t-shirt, 92 SummerSlam with the Macho Man Randy. This is the sad thing. It's got Macho Man Randy Savage on it, the Ultimate Warrior, the Undertaker, the British Bulldog, and Bret Hart. 60% of the people on this shirt are dead. God, Lou, you're just silly. You're just silly. Silly. I mean, Pittsburgh went into Tennessee and won this year. I guess that doesn't matter, right? That doesn't matter, does it? Louisville's going to waffle stomp Kentucky tomorrow. That doesn't matter, right? Yes, Brandon, that is right. Very good, sir. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world in the iHeartRadio app. Let's give you a scoreboard update because there are some games going on right now. 21st ranked San Diego State just beat Boise State. Not a good year for the boys on the blue turf. The Smurfs on the turf, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I call Boise State. They lose 27-16 to San Diego State. A couple of directional schools in Michigan. Central Michigan is beating Eastern Michigan 31-10, about a minute to go in the fourth quarter. Utah State is slapping around New Mexico. They lead 35-3. That game is almost done. About 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter. You've also got Iowa and Nebraska. Nebraska leads the 16th ranked Hawkeyes 21-6. About 5 minutes to go in the third. UTEP and UAB. 3 minutes to go in the second quarter, tied at 14. South Florida and UCF, the battle for I-4. That's what they call that matchup. The battle for I-4 there. Scoreless as they just get underway. Other finals from today. Texas breaks their winning streak. How do you feel to beat Kansas State? Let's get this right. Kansas wins over Texas, but Kansas State can't. That's not good. 22-17, the Longhorns win over Kansas State. Bowling Green beat up on Ohio 21-10. 3:30 game fixing to get underway. These two teams hate each other. If you don't believe me, look online with some of the stuff that goes back and forth between them. An SEC matchup, Missouri playing on the road at Arkansas. Arkansas is getting 14.5. One of my picks is Mizzou to cover. Mizzou might win. Yep. Not buying into Arkansas and their silliness. Give me Mizzou with the definitely with the 14.5. Also at 3:30 today, Coastal Carolina will play South Alabama. Coastal's a 15-point favorite. Other matchups, Air Force Academy plays UNLV. They're an 18.5-point favorite. East Carolina is playing Cincinnati at 3:50 today. Cincinnati's a 14.5-point favorite. I like East Carolina to cover that game and quite possibly win. Don't call me crazy here. Utah, the 19th ranked team in the country, will play Colorado. 4 o'clock today, 24-point favorite for Utah. Iowa State and TCU kick off at 4:30. Iowa State's a 15-point favorite. Also at 7 o'clock tonight, North Carolina and North Carolina State. Clemson fans are paying really close attention to this because they need a North Carolina win to have any shot of going to the ACC championship game, and then they need Boston College to win tomorrow over Wake Forest. So, yeah, there's that. North Carolina wins. All Clemson needs tomorrow is a win by Boston College, who, by the way, has 14 players out with some kind of flu. That one came out the other day. So there's that. Washington State and Washington. The Apple Cup tonight. Washington's a 1-point favorite. NC State is a 6-point favorite at home, by the way. All right, some other matchups tomorrow at high noon. They're going to get this over early. It's almost like an execution. Georgia playing Georgia Tech. Georgia is a 35-point favorite. Ugh. Georgia fans are probably upset they got to go to Georgia Tech. Seriously. Ohio State and Michigan also at noon. That game has CFP implications because whoever loses is out of the CFP playoff, in my opinion. Baylor, they're a 14-point favorite over Texas Tech. They also play at noon tomorrow. Michigan is a 7-point underdog at home to Ohio State. Houston and UConn also play tomorrow. Houston's a 32.5-point favorite. Florida State and Florida. This game opened up as a 10-point spread like an hour before Dan Mullen was fired. And now it got down to 1 point. Now it's at 3. Florida's a 3-point favorite. Give me Florida State because I don't think Florida cares. I really don't. Other matchups, Maryland and Rutgers. Maryland, they play at noon. Army and Liberty. Might be a good matchup. Liberty's a 3.5-point favorite. Navy and Temple. Navy's a 12.5-point favorite. Miami and Duke. Miami's gonna just stomp Duke. Duke is not very good this year. Miami's a 21-point favorite. I'll take Miami and the points on the road at Duke Stadium. Let's see here. Other games tomorrow is we'll give you some picks here. Alabama and Auburn in the Iron Bowl. You know, when I look at this game, I look at it from the perspective of everybody's trying to find some tarnish in that Alabama armor. You can make an argument that, okay, maybe they don't guard the run as well. Maybe they could, maybe they have issues where a little bit here, little things is what people tries to throw at Alabama. Alabama's a 20.5-point favorite in that matchup. I truly believe that Alabama's going to win big. Do you think Auburn is going to really come out and be like, hey, we're kind of in the mix here. I mean, they're playing for pride, but in the end, Lou Online says, how could UF be favored? I don't know. Lou says, do you realize how many times Florida's been favored by double digits this year and has lost? Yeah. Yep. I can see that too. So Jay says they gave up like Rob's foam shoe inserts. I wear sandals, sir, the majority of the time. I can get away with that. Anyway, I think Alabama wins big. And I think that if Washington comes to Harsin and says, hey, you know what? We think we'd like you to be our head coach. I think he's going to go back to the Pacific Northwest. Will he take Mike Bobo with him? We'll have to see how that goes. But I don't think that everybody is really on board with all of that. Also tomorrow at 3:30, Oregon and Oregon State. I get frustrated when I see this. They used to call this the Civil War, but they dropped that moniker in 2019 because they don't want to offend anyone. Get the hell out of here with that nonsense. Does the term the Civil War really offend people? Really? That's what offends you? I could tell you thousands of things that offend me. There are a line of people in my chat over here who make fun of me for being a chunky boy all the time. Jay's making comments about my shoe inserts. That doesn't bother me. We need to be a little bit more stronger as a society. Guess what? Words don't really hurt people. I hate to be the guy that says that. It doesn't change anything. Oh, God, that makes me so angry. Angry, angry, angry. It's the Civil War in my book. It's still the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, too, when Georgia and Florida play each other. The words and phrasing, in the end, just stop it. Tired of that nonsense, too. Anyway, the Civil War, Oregon and Oregon State, 3:30 kickoff. Then we go with Penn State and Michigan State. Penn State's a 2-point favorite, and I think a lot of that's got to do with the fact that Michigan State got housed last weekend. So I'm going to roll there with Michigan State at home. Both coaches, by the way, signed long-term contracts. They're going to be fighting each other for a while. Brandon and Lee with the same phrase, Fat Lives Matter. You guys are terrible, but funny. Anyway, one other matchup before we go to break. Indiana and Purdue. They are Purdue is a 15.5-point favorite. Lou says my ACC bias offends him. Well, I don't think I'm biased towards anyone. I think I just don't put up with the SEC back tattoo folks. I think that's the problem there. Anyway, 803-978-1832. We'll have some more picks for you as we wrap up the Friday edition of the Rundown here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. I can't believe, because I was doing my prep on that earlier, they don't call it the Civil War anymore. The hell is that all about? And here's the other thing, too. It's not like Oregon was in the original freaking Civil War. You don't have people that were in Oregon in the damn Civil War. What the hell? That's the best part. Look, if you were in South Carolina or, I mean, I still think it's stupid, but Oregon wasn't even a freaking state in the Civil War. Oh, gosh. Hell. What a mess. By the way, if anybody's in Columbia tonight, Jackpot and I are doing a live show at Callaway's. You should show up. We're gonna feed Jackpot peanut butter whiskey and just watch him spin the hell out. It's gonna be great. Do some Carolina Clemson trivia, all kind of good stuff. I mean, but am I wrong? Oregon wasn't a state. They weren't part of the freaking original Civil War. Oh, man. It's not, and here's my thing. It's not even a right thing, right wing, left wing thing. It's just a freaking common sense thing. Shouldn't offend anyone. Oh, what a mess. That's funny. James is hilarious. I just don't understand. and you know what? And here's the thing, too. The stuff with God, I'm just going to get really, really mad. I'm not going to talk about football. I'm just going to talk about people being dumbasses. Yeah, that's dumb too. Final segment of the rundown here on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Shout out to Pigskin Pete watching the program today saying civil wars have been fought for thousands of years. It's not an American thing. I get that. I just don't understand why they went away from that now. It's just a mess. Anyway, some more picks against the spread. Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Vanderbilt is a 31.5-point underdog on the road at Tennessee. Vanderbilt is terrible. Tennessee's not going to have, I guess, their leading rushers, what Bobby told us earlier. That's a lot of points. But I might take Vanderbilt with 31.5 points. I don't know. I'm debating on that pick. Virginia Tech and Virginia. UVA is a 7-point favorite. Give me UVA -7. I'm big on the Who's this weekend. Wisconsin and Minnesota. Wisconsin's a 7-point favorite. PJ Fleck gets the win. I like PJ Fleck to spoil some of that stuff with Wisconsin this weekend. I think that they get the win at home tomorrow at 4:00. Other interesting matchups: Arizona and Arizona State. This used to be a fun rivalry. Now Arizona's 1-10. Arizona State's a 20-point favorite. Kind of hard to go away from that. The Ed Orgeron era ends tomorrow with LSU. I don't know if he'll coach the bowl game or not if they make a bowl game, but I think they lose to Texas A&M. They're a 6.5-point dog at home. I will go with the Aggies. West Virginia and Kansas also play tomorrow. West Virginia is a 15.5-point favorite. It's on the road in Kansas. There'll be about 12 people there watching that game. I'm going to roll with the Mountaineers to win big. The big matchup in the Big 12 tomorrow, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, a 7:30 kickoff. Oklahoma State is a 4.5-point favorite. If you want some interesting stuff, Google Spencer Rattler. There's been some footage of him on the sidelines looking like he just doesn't care. So I say that because the transfer portal is waiting for him, and someone's going to take him. Someone is going to take him. But I like Oklahoma State to win. Pittsburgh and Syracuse. Pitt is a 13-point favorite, and I think that Syracuse will cover. It is on the road in the Dome. Kentucky and Louisville. Louisville, by the way, is a 3-point favorite, and everyone in the SEC is upset about it. Watch some Louisville games. Louisville wins big tomorrow. So there you go. I'm putting that on the bookcase of accountability over there. I like Louisville to win that game. Notre Dame and Stanford, one of the big rivalries, according to several different reports. I got to experience that rivalry. Notre Dame is a 20-point favorite on the road. Let's see here. Did I bring up the... I've got to check the Wake Forest plays Boston College tomorrow. Wake is a 4.5-point favorite on the road. And let's see here. Oh, and then finally, last little bit here. Clemson and South Carolina. Clemson's an 11.5-point favorite. When South Carolina has had issues on the offensive side of the ball, it's when teams run blitz them, put 8 and 9 guys in the box, and make the quarterback work. That's when South Carolina loses games. Brent Venables is a heck of a defensive mind. He's not going to play zone coverage and things like that. I think he's going to stack the box and dare Jason Brown to beat them tomorrow. I think that's what it's going to roll around to. The biggest matchup, I think, on the offensive side of the ball for Clemson is DJ Uiagalelei trying not to hit cheerleaders in the back with balls, which he's done this season. I think the Pittsburgh game, he actually hit a cheerleader on the sideline. So there's that, and it's him against Jalen Foster. If Uiagalelei has to throw the ball 25 times tomorrow, Clemson loses. Yep, because that means that South Carolina has stopped that running game. I think if Uiagalelei has to throw 25 times, South Carolina will lose. Clemson will lose tomorrow. It's as simple as that. Clemson's going to go with the game plan that they had against Wake Forest. What was that? In the second half, they didn't throw the ball but 4 times. So there you go with that. When you look at Clemson, of course, their stats in some of these games, Uyunglele's thrown for less than 2,000 yards this season, which is kind of shocking. He threw for almost 400 against 3-something against the folks at Notre Dame last year. But this year he's been hot dog water. There you go with that. Anyway, Carolina Jackpot corrected me. He hit her at Syracuse. I remember Pittsburgh too. Maybe he's done it more than once. He hasn't exactly been accurate. So there's that. Anyway, one of the other things with that matchup, though, tomorrow, it's going to come down to that. Uyunglele having to throw the ball. If he has to throw the ball more than 25 times, there's going to be a problem. And that means that South Carolina has stopped the running game for Clemson. And if that happens, South Carolina will be in the game in the fourth quarter. Because I'm not confident that Uyunglele can throw the ball 25 times without having 2 picks. Simple as that. For South Carolina to win, that has to happen. Now, do they have the defensive personnel to do it? We'll see. Clemson's been one of, especially here lately, they've been running the ball pretty well. Will Shipley and Kobe Pace have really found their way there. And Uyunglele makes some plays with his feet too. So we'll see how that works. Leon Line says we're going to beat the Taters with our 2 running plays. Look, if you have 2 plays that can work, why do you need any more? Seriously. I don't understand. Just run the same 2 plays. Also, Coach Satterfield, the offensive coordinator for South Carolina, said, we've got to make some down the field passes. Yeah, you're right. If Clemson creeps up too much, brings the safety up, whatever, and Jason Brown is able to make a couple of deep passes, that's going to soften that up a little bit, and South Carolina could win. In the end, though, this is a horrible matchup for South Carolina, a team that can stop the run, playing against a team that Clemson's had issues with the pass a little bit this season, but the Clemson defense has been pretty solid. So there's that. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832 is the number to call. I think the final tomorrow, I'm going with, I like Clemson winning 30-9. 3 field goals for the Gamecocks. It's kind of where, after my research, that's where I'm going to go. Parker White will boot 3 field goals from 40 yards or more. The Clemson defense will shut them down tomorrow. 803-978-1832. That's the number to call if you'd like to join us here as we wrap up this edition of The Rundown. My goodness, the show is over. Wow. If you would like to get involved with the program, you can reach out to me on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. The podcast will be up at 5 o'clock today. And don't forget, we've got the fine 5th quarter postgame show with myself and Tim Frisbee, former Gamecock wide receiver, and my buddy Justin Hall. We will be talking about the South Carolina matchup. However it goes, we will be on the air either however you feel after the game. We're the only place that'll take your calls. 803-978-1832 is the number here, but tomorrow we'll be on WVOC, our sister station. Be sure to check that out. Look for us on the WVOC Twitter page and the WVOC Facebook page. We stream the show live from there. Of course, Lawton Swan from Clemson Sports Talk is next. Be sure to check him out.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Yep. You can follow him on Twitter at Clemson Sports. I'm on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. Enjoy the rivalry weekend. We will have Reaction Monday on our next edition of The Rundown right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. All right, you guys are awesome. If you're in town, man, come out to Callaway's tonight. Hang out with Jackpot and I. We're going to drink and have a dandy time. Talk to you guys later on. Appreciate y'all.